guys? It's Maxflow here. We're hanging out at the old U.S. Coast Guard Cleveland Station out off of Wendy Island. We're going to work on some crows today, help you guys fly, add that to your power vinyasa flow. We've gone over some other basic things, so now it's time to have a little bit of fun and start out with crows. So just show you guys the basic crow. Hands nice and firm into the ground where your mat, knees hugging in, and then from there you just fly. Boom, nice and simple. Gaze in front of the fingertips, controlled breath, and then exhale, come back down. So basically, really engage the low and abdominal muscles, making sure that our hands are starting out shoulder width apart, nice and flat on the ground. And then from there, just bring our knees to the outside of our elbows, and then start squeezing your knees in, getting that nice little crunch motion. Start curling the back a little bit, really hugging the knees to the outside of the triceps. And then once you have that energetic action, just start bringing your feet and your big toe mounds together so the inner creases, inner arches are touching together, really squeezing together. Everything's hugging into the center line. And just firing that breath up, that Ujjayi breath in and out of the nose. And then from there, we're just going to start shifting the weight forward, putting about 80% of our weight in our hands, starting with our fingertips, and then going to our knuckles of our hands. And then from there, it just comes in, curls off the wrist, and goes straight up our arms. Once we have that established, that nice center line, everything squeezing in from the skin, to the muscle, to the bone, nice and comfortable there. Then we just start lifting our toes off the mat, leaning more forward, squeezing our feet together, taking flight, elbows hugging in, and then exhale and just come back down. And if that's a little bit difficult, one thing we can do is if you have a block or a step, something just to elevate your feet off the floor, all you have to do is just get a nice little crouching squat, both feet firmly onto the block, and then from there start squeezing the big toe mounds together, the inner arches squeeze together, and then we can just nice and relax, press our hands down into the mat or the floor, whatever ground surface we are, get our fingertips nice and rooted, knuckles of our hands are nice and rooted, and then from there, now that we have our feet on the block helps elevate our elbows so we can get, or elevate our kneecaps so we can get our kneecaps higher than our elbows. So if that's a little bit difficult early on, the block will definitely help. And then from there, we can start shifting that 80% of our weight into our fingertips and our knuckles. And then just hugging in the knees, just squeezing in as tight as you can. Tight as you can, and then from there, just start squeezing the feet together, and then maybe lift one toe off the floor, off the mat, or off the block, and then try the other one. Just go back and forth, left foot comes off, right foot comes off, and just feeling grounded in your fingertips. If your wrists start to hurt, one thing you can do is just flip them over, give them a nice breather. You can take a gorilla pose, walking the fingertips into the creases of the knuckles, into the crease of the wrists. Just massaging everything out. You start at the knuckles and just working your toes up to the creases of the wrists. Nice gorilla pose, hips over the ankles. And just fold forward. Get some traction so you relax the head, relax the spine. And then you can release. And then another way to warm up the wrists, just be crossing one hand over the other, and then you pull that bottom hand. And just get that nice little wrist stretch. And then you can switch sides. Get the wrist stretch here. And working the fingertips. You can just start with the pinky, pull the pinky straight down, arms are straight out. Ring finger, middle finger, index, and get it hooking their thumb. Getting that nice stretch. Shake the hands out, and then we'll get the other side. And just keeping the hands nice and flexible as we build our crow, and we build the strength in our wrists. So if you're new to your practice, it might hurt your wrists a little bit, but keep going through it as long as it's not the pain A little discomfort never hurt anybody, but just be aware of any shooting pain. If you feel any shooting pain in your wrist, just back off a little bit, maybe ice your wrist down a little bit if they start to swell up. But hopefully, as long as you're pressing in the fingertips and the knuckles of your hands, there shouldn't be much weight pressed on your wrist. So we can start with our block, squeezing the knees to the outside of the triceps, strong gaze in front of the fingertips, just a few inches in front of the fingertips, that way you don't tuck your chin and pull forward and, you know, land face first into the ground. So we just allow the block to help us elevate our knees higher than our elbows, and then from there we could just take flight, squeezing everything in towards the center line, big toes squeeze together, and then start trying to bring your heels towards your belly button, lifting those feet up. And I'll show you from the side. Come to your block, big toe mounts touching together, arms nice and relaxed to start off, and then just drop your hands shoulder width apart nice and comfortably, and then bring the knees, squeezing them to the outside of the triceps. Start shifting your weight forward, 80%, and then when you get to that 80%, just start lifting your toes off. Just work with these little exercises. Strong breath, Ujjayi breath. And then once you get comfortable lifting those both toes up one at a time, squeeze your feet together, gaze in front of the fingertips, and just take flight. Boom. And come down, relax. And if that's giving you a little issue, you can just still work on the core. One thing we can do is come into Bakasana boat pose. Hands can be behind the thighs. Straighten the legs. Let's just warm the core up. So inhale, lower down halfway. Exhale, crunch up. Inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, crunch up. Inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, crunch up. Just get it 5 of these. So 2 more. Inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, crunch up. Last one. Inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, crunch up. And then just grab your forearms around your shins. Get a few rocks on the spine. And then let's just take a happy baby right here. So our elbows are going on the inside of the kneecaps, just as we were in crow. And then this time our hands can grab the outside of the feet. Tailbones trying to be rooted into the floor. And then you just rock side to side. Feeling out your hip creases. You can straighten one leg at a time, just get a little different stretch. And then we can work on our crow from this area too. So we've already got our elbows on the inside of the kneecaps, so we can just release our feet and then bring our big toe mounts together. So we get our nice crow feet. You can even hold your feet just like this. Balancing on your hip. And then just start trying to pull your feet apart. Pull your feet apart, pressing your elbows into the thighs and squeeze the thighs together. And just getting that energetic action. And then seeing how close you can bring your feet into your belly button. Keeping the feet and crow feet so inside arches are touching only. And then from there, you can just reach your hands straight forward, taking those crow arms. Fingers spread evenly. Feet touching together. Warming up the core. Just feeling that burn. Just try and stay here for 10 breaths. And this will help build those crow, and just see how close you can bring your toes towards your navel. And this is the crow pose, just a little modification. We're just not flying, but we're setting up that preparation. So we have a strong foundation. You can just work with how your feet are flexed and how they're pressing together, squeezing the elbows out into the kneecaps. Just strong breath. Just working everything, just checking everything, the fingertips, the knees, the elbows, the big toe mounts, the inner arches, low abs working, and then you can exhale, release. Just take a little butterfly. Butterfly, just open your feet like a little book, so the fingertips, except for the thumb, are on the tops of the feet, and the thumbs are on the bottoms of the feet. We're just going to the elbows into the hips, into the thighs, and just lean forward as straight with back as possible, opening up our feet, book. Just stay with the breath. Always want to stay with the Ujjayi breath. So you guys can keep practicing these crows. So then we can come out of that. Now that our legs are warmed up, maybe take a down dog. So we're going to come from this from a down facing dog, so we can just bring our feet up towards our hands. And then start bringing our knees wide. Big toes touching down the center. And then just relaxing the hands so the arms come straight down. You still feel that cupping of the armpit, the side ribs, as if you're squeezing a newspaper. So that's how you know your hands are shoulder width apart. Firmly flat into the ground. Nice, strong, solid foundation so the energy can evenly disperse out of every fingertip. So you really want to work down with your fingertips and then your knuckles of your hands. And then from there, just start lifting the hips, curling the back like a cat pose, and then bring the knees to the outside of the triceps. Squeeze the inner arches together, fire that Ujjayi breath up, and start shifting your weight forward, gazing a few inches in front of the fingertips until you take flight. Squeezing the feet up and in. Strong breath, strong core. Try and hold it for 3 breaths. 5, 10. Just 1 breath at a time. And then exhale, gently come down. And then another way to come from that downward facing dog, once we really get used to our crow pose in our hands, dog, and just bring it right knee to the right tricep, down dog, left knee, left tricep, down dog, and eventually hop up and hop back. Just work with that. Try it again. Bend the knees. Knees come to the outside of the triceps, squeezing in. Hold it for a few breaths. Chaturanga. Inhale to your upward facing dog. Upper arm bones roll back. Deep breath. Exhale to your downward facing dog. And if that's a little bit not intense enough, we can raise our crow and just bring our knees to almost our armpits. Getting our arms as straight as possible. And then from there, weight shifts forward. Squeezing the feet together, gazing in front of the fingertips. Hold it for a few breaths, and then exhale your chaturanga. Up dog, exhale down dog. Walk your hands back to your feet hip width apart, slight bend of the knees, and just take a ragdoll. Release your hands, then take that gorilla pose, bringing the toes to the crease of the wrists, give that nice massage. And then, those are some tips and tricks for your downward facing dog. So if you got a block, try and utilize that to work on your crow, that we can work that crow to downward facing dog and chaturanga.